Okay, so today we're going to be talking about tangent lines to circles. So let me zoom in here just a tad so you guys can better see what's happening. So a tangent line would be something like this. That's a tangent line. And why is that tangent? Well, basically a tangent line is any line that, touches the circle and, the diameter or radius at exactly 90 degrees. Okay? So it's hitting that circle at 90 degrees. So if I connect these points, I create a right triangle, technically. So that is what a tangent line is, and that gives us some pretty good uses if we ever see that, because that allows us to solve these things, right? If I can create a right triangle, then I can use the Pythagorean theorem to solve all sorts of stuff, right? So this would be a tangent line here, because it's going to say anything that appears to be tangent is tangent. And tangent lines basically hit your circle at what looks like 90 degrees. Okay? So then, with that information, I can then solve for this missing piece, right? This is one of my legs, because the opposite of the right would be this line right here. So we are going to set this up like this. 10.22 squared is equal to 4.8 squared plus question mark squared. Okay? But it's not actually question mark squared, because question mark would be 2 times question mark squared. There we go. So we'd start off by subtracting 4.8 squared from each side. So 10.2 squared minus 4.8 squared is 81. Okay? Then I would find the square root of that is 81. And I would get 9, right? And then I still am not quite there, because this entire length is 9. And I want half that length, right? I just want the radius. So then I would divide that by 2. And question mark is going to equal 4.5. Okay, let's try another one. Let's look at this one right here. So this one gives me this side length, and again, this is the longest side right here, and it gives me this length, but I don't know this length. Well, I do. It's not hard. This is a radius, because it's coming out of the center to the edge of the circle. Any line that comes from the center to the edge of the circle needs to be exactly the same length, because they are all radiuses. No matter, like this would be 8, right? This would be 8. This would be 8. This would be 8. All those are 8 long. So that tells me this is also going to be 8. So to get the longest side would be 9 plus 8, which is 17. So that gives me the two things I need to set up my problem. It's going to be 17 squared equals 8 squared plus question mark squared, right? So then I'd minus the 8 squared, and in my calculator, 17 squared minus 8 squared is 225. Find the square root, and it's going to be 15. So question mark is equal to 15. Not too bad, right? So one other thing we need to talk about is the perimeter problems here. So here we have set up 3 different tangent lines. Okay? Now there is a property that happens here that'll allow us to solve it. When we have tangent lines like this that hit up, basically they create isosceles triangles. Okay? Just out here on, like, if I connect these 2 points, it's going to create an isosceles triangle. So that means that this side length would have to equal this side length. So those two would be congruent. This side length would have to equal this side length, and this side length would have to equal this side length. Now, to find the perimeter, I'm missing this piece, right? So I need to basically figure out what each of these are. So to do this, I just go through and write in what each length would be and then add them all up. So I need to figure out basically what this is going to come down to. And to do it, I'm going to have to basically figure out all these little pieces. So if I know these are congruent, then I know this is also 8.4. If I know that's 8.4, then this half of the line would be 18.5 minus 8.4, which is 10.1. So if that's 10.1, that means this is 10.1. So again, if I take that away, that's going to leave 12 for this line, which means this line must be 12 as well. Now I can add them all together. These two sides together, 12 plus 8.4, is going to be 20.4. So now I can add up all three sides. So 20.4 plus 18.5 plus 22.1 is going to give me everything all together is 61. Okay, not as hard as it looked, right? Again, basically once you know that property where those two sides are equivalent, it comes down. It's pretty easy. And that is tangent lines.